This video should show you everything you need to know to use the sample summary paragraphs in order to do the APA formatting properly for your summary paragraphs. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about here are the running headers. The running headers are the information at the top of every page in the paper. So at the very top of every page in the paper, there's information there, and that's called the running header. That's a term that I'm going to be using throughout the quarter. Okay, and I will show you now how to do the running headers using the Word template. Okay, so you're going to follow these directions. You're going to open Word. Okay, and then you're in the Search Online Templates box. You're going to type APA. You're going to select APA style paper, and then click the Create button. Let me show you how that works. Okay, so I'm going to create a Word document. Here's the online template. Go away. Here's the online template box up there at the top. So that's up at the top here. I'm going to type in APA there. Hit Enter. And then I'm going to choose this one here, APA style paper. Click that. And then there's a button here that says Create. All right. And now I have a template for an APA paper. All right. So you now have a template for an APA paper. Okay. So now the key here on the template is, if you look at it, there's some words that are on the template that are words that you keep. They're words that are going to stay in your paper. But then you have some words on the template that are instructions for what you need to type, and they're instruction words you replace with your own words. So if we take a look here, this is the running header up here. No, this up here, that's the running header. If you take a look there, these words here, running head, those are words you're going to keep. This number over here, the page number, that's going to be kept. But this in all caps here, short and title up to 50 characters, those are instructions for what you're going to put there, and those you're going to replace. You're going to type in your paper title instead of that. Okay? So where it says short and title up to 50 characters, type your paper title in all caps. So I go here, I click there, it highlights nicely, and in all caps I'm going to do summary paragraphs 1 and 2, which is the title of your paper. Okay, so that's the running header. Now, the cover page. So that's the cover page. That's the first page on the paper, and for most of the rest of that, you're going to follow the instructions, but putting in your information. So taking a look here, so now we're in here. Okay, and there's two sort of parts to this. There's the part in the middle, which is clear cut. You're going to do that exactly as you're supposed to do it. And then there's the part on the bottom here. Okay, so the part in the middle, follow the part in the bottom turns out to be more flexible. You can do different things there. But in the part in the middle, follow the instructions. So it says add title here, up to 12 words on 1 or 2 lines. Now, one of the things, it doesn't tell you that this is in title case, but if you look at that, the instructions there are in title case. So the instructions are in the format they want you to follow. So notice the instructions there were in all caps, which was the hint that you're supposed to type it in all caps. The instructions here are in title case, and you can see some words are capitalized, but some words are lowercase, like that. We'll talk about the specific rules on that. The rough rule of thumb, which will be okay for now, is basically big words are capitalized, small words are lowercase, not capitalized. But we'll explain that in more detail. So here, this is the title of your paper. This, not that. In title case, so capital S, capital P, 1 and 2 like that. Okay, and it says author name, that's you, first, middle initial, last, omit titles and degrees, so that would be Jane Q Public, like that. Okay, and then finally down here, institutional affiliations, that would be TCC, so you could type TCC if you want, or you could type Tacoma, like that, fill it in, like that, Tacoma Community College. Okay, that, everyone has to have this exact setup on their paper. The author note down here, that turns out to be something different. So what do the instructions say? They have author note. Now these are words that you can keep if you want to. And then here's the instructions. Include any grant funding information and a complete correspondence address. Well, that doesn't apply to what you're doing. But it turns out the things you do here, you can do it different ways. So if we take a look at my sample, let's open up the sample here, and if you see at the bottom of that, there's no author note down there. You just have class name, my name, and the due date on the paper. There, that's one way you do that. Or you can do this author note thing here, and here you can type in something like this paper was prepared for English 101, Lawrence White instructor. Something like that. Okay, there. Don't save it. Okay, so that there's, like, if you look on the if you go to the Google and you type in APA cover page, and you look at the different schools have posted, different looking cover pages, different cover, what your cover page can look like. You'll see there's different formatting. That the main difference is the stuff on the bottom can be done different ways, but the stuff in the middle here and the stuff on the top always has to be done like this. Okay, so that's the cover page. All right, now the next thing is section headers. So what are those? Section headers are within the body of the paper. Most of the time, the title of the paper is a section header. So that's one section header you're probably familiar with. The section, note that they are centered. Okay, and so we go back to the sample paper here, and we look. That's a section header there, and that's a section header there. So your body of the paper is going to have two section headers. Type for the section headers, what I want, the author name and the title of the source. So the first paragraph, the section header for that will be the author of the source you're summarizing, and then the title of the source you're summarizing. The title is going to be in title case and quote marks. Remember, title case is, roughly speaking, big words capitalized, small words lowercase. And if we take a look at the sample here, there's the author name, comma, title of the source in title case, capital, 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 quote marks, and then the same thing down here, author name, comma, title of the source, capitalized, title case, quote marks, like that. Okay, now the next thing is the APA in-text. So these are the in-text citations. You have to have one of those. If you look at the assignment sheet, it says that you have to have an APA in-text citation in the first sentence of your summary paragraph, the umbrella sentence, the sentence that captures the main point of the source. And basically, the version that I'm going to have you guys do for this is all you need is the author's last name only, followed by the publication year in parentheses. Doing it this way, the important thing is that the in-text citation is grammatically part of the sentence. They're words within the sentence. And here's two ways you can do it. You can do something like this. Ranieri 2017 said everybody should have fun. Or another way you can do it, which you could say, according to Ranieri 2017, everybody should have fun. And this here is that's the in-text citation. Last name, year of publication. And again, that's the in-text citation. Last name, year of publication. If we take a look at the sample here, we'll see up here, Wolf 2012, there's the in-text citation for that. Notice it's a part of the sentence. Wolf 2012 expressed his disagreement, yada, yada, yada. And one down here, Hughes 2012, that's the in-text citation. And notice that, notice that it's a part of the sentence. Hughes 2012 contained a profound irony, yada, yada, yada. Like that. Okay, so that's the APA in-text citations, pretty simple. And then finally, we've got the bibliography. All right, so let's take a look at the page. So this is the last page on the paper. This is the page with the sources. Now here's a very important thing here. Notice that this is a separate page. That's an important thing to keep in mind. Always, your bibliography is always a separate page. It does not begin at the bottom of the last page of your paper. It's a separate page all by itself. And notice the section header here is references. So that's what we call this, references, capital R there. Notice that it's double spaced with no extra spaces. And notice that, so there's no extra space in there, everything's double spaced, just like the paper itself, double spaced. And then notice that the entries are in alphabetical order. We have two entries, Hughes, Wolf, H comes before W in the alphabet, so the Hughes entry first, the Wolf entry second. All right, so those are the important things there. So section headers, references, page is double spaced, no extra spaces, entries are alphabetized. Okay. Another format thing here is that these entries are in hanging indents. Okay, so note how the indents on the bibliography are different from the indents in the body of the paper. The first line of every entry is on the left margin, and if there are any additional lines in the entry, they're indented 5 spaces 1 tab. So again, take a look at the sample. So the first line is on the left margin, and then second, and if there's another line, is indented 5 spaces in. First line on the left margin, indented 5 spaces in. And that's the opposite of the body of the paper, the paragraph there. Notice that the first line's indented, and then everything else is on the left margin. In this, we're reversed. First line on left margin, any additional lines in an entry indented. All bibliographies are formatted that way, no matter what format you're working in. Now it turns out that it's a little tricky to get this done, but one way you can do it is you can use the template here. Okay, so most of the template stuff you don't need, and so this here. So if you go, like, you take the template here and you go to type in your entry. So I'm just going to type X's, pretending that's my entry. And I'm typing my entry here. Here's my information on the entry, yada, 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 yada. I go and I'm keep typing. I have more information. I go to the next line, and notice that it automatically does that hanging indent there. Okay, if I have an entry down here, same thing. If I typing that, type, information, next line, hanging indent there. Okay, so that's how to do the hanging indents. Okay, now the final thing, this is the most so that's what I just showed you there. The hanging indents method uses the word template, type in your entry, page is already formatted for hanging indents. Okay. Now I also have another. There's another way to do this, sort of the way to do it by hand. I'm going to make a separate video for that and post that. Post the link to that on Canvas. Okay. But for the summary paragraphs, you can use what they've got in the template there. Okay, so now the final thing is the reference entries themselves, so the information in the entries. And it turns out the formatting on that is very complicated. However, if you follow the formatting on the entries on the sample paper, you'll be just fine. So you just take the format that's on the sample paper and use the information from your sources. Okay, so what am I talking about here? So follow this format and just put in the information from your source. These essays come from a different book than your book, so you're going to be doing the information from the sources you choose from our textbook, but in this format. And I'll explain that in concluding the show here. We'll show how that works. So here's all the instructions on all the detailed explanation on what you need. how you need to format this, but I'll go through it line by line and show you examples. So the first thing, the author name. It's the author last name, comma, and initials for first and middle name, and then period. So if we take a look here on the sample here, so there's a last name, comma, first initial, period. Last name, comma, first initial, period. Okay, so just exactly like that. Last name, comma, initial, period. All right. The next thing is the year of publication in parentheses and a period. So if we take a look there, year of publication, parentheses, in parentheses with a period, year of publication, in parentheses with a period. Okay. After that, so this is the title of the essay. Now this is in sentence case, no quote marks, and a period. Notice that the title of the essay is formatted differently on this page than it was in the body of the paper. All right. And what was that sentence case? I said sentence case. What does that mean? You may have never heard of sentence case before, but the thing is, it's something you actually know how to do. Sentence case is capitalizing things exactly like you capitalize it in a sentence. So that means the first word of either the title or the subtitle is capitalized, and then any proper names are capitalized. Okay? So if we take a look here what it looks like, the first one here is just a one-word title, so that's pretty easy. So notice that's capitalized. Notice we have no quote marks here, and there's a period. Now here's sentence case. Only the first word's capitalized. There are no proper names in this, so they're not capitalized. Okay, and no quote marks, and the period at the end there. Okay, so sentence case, no quote marks, period at the end. All right, after this we've got the editors. Now this one's a little bit complicated, but if you follow the instructions, it shouldn't be a problem. The editor names begin with the word in, and then you do initial, then last name. Okay, it's not reversed. It's initial, then last name. Between the next to last and the last name, you put the ampersand. Okay, and then after the names, you have in parentheses, capital E, D, S, period, and then a comma. All right, and so what does that look like? So in, and then here's the first editor, initial, period, last name. This book only had 2 editors, so we have the ampersand between the 2 here. Ampersand, initial, period, last name, initial for the first name, last name, and then in parentheses, EDS, capital EDS, period, and then a comma there. Same thing down there. In, A, Rosa, and P, Eskel's, EDS, period, in parentheses, comma after that. Okay, the book title. So this is the title of the textbook. This again is in sentence case. That means capitalized the same way a sentence gets capitalized. No quote marks again, but this time we're in italics. Those are the leaning over letters. Okay, so here's the book title, like that. In sentence case, so that's a small f, small w. Subtitle capitalized, but then small e, small f, small c, because none of these are proper names, and then a period there. Now notice they're in italics. That's the leaning over letters. All right, let me show you let me go to this sample here. Notice that these are in italics. And how do you do italics? You highlight the word you want italicized, and it's this blue I up here. Okay, I can take it off so it's not italicized now. And then if I want to italicize it again, I highlight the words that I want italicized, and that I button like that, and there you go, just like that. Okay, so that's the book title. Next thing is the edition number. That is an ordinal, so it's 1 ST for first, 2 ND for second, 3 RD for third, 4 TH for fourth. It's in parentheses. The abbreviation ED is after that, ED period is after that, then the parentheses, then a period. Okay, so if we take a look here, this was the 11th edition on this textbook. So 11th, ED period, small e, small d, period, and both of those in parentheses, and a period there. So open parens, ordinal, small e, small d, period, close parens, period. Just like that. Okay. And then you have the page range. This is like the first page in the textbook that the essay appears on and the last page in the textbook that the essay appears on. You put a hyphen in between them. You put the letters PP period before that, and all that is in parentheses with a period on the outside of that. Okay, if we take a look here, P in open parens, PP period, first page, hyphen, last page, close parens, period. Same thing there. PP period, first page, last page, hyphen in between, both of those in parentheses, and a period after that. Okay, coming into the home stretch, right? City of publication, comma, the postal abbreviation for the state. That's the two-letter capitalized, both letters capitalized abbreviation, then a colon. All right, so if we see here, Boston, comma, MA for Massachusetts, and then the colon there, Boston, comma, MA, both capitalized, colon, and then finally the publisher name, and you omit any ampersands and business words, and then a period to close everything out. So if we take a look there, Bedford, period, like that. So that's the publisher name there. Our publisher, your textbook, is W.W. Norton. All right, if you look on the cover page, it says W.W. Norton and Company, the ampersand and company. Skip the ampersand, skip the company. All that you should have at the end of your entry there is W period, Norton, period. Just like that. Okay, you follow those instructions. Everything will be perfect on your paper. If you have any questions, talk to me in class, send me an email, and we'll get it all worked out.